let's start off with, let's go with Regenesis Sage, right? So currently, pre-orders online are like £4 if you look in the right place, and they are in stock. So it's kind of hard to judge it any more than that. Now, I think Regenesis are going to be one of those hidden gems. Not all of them are going to be hidden gems. Like, some are going to be like complete trash. But the kind of talk about Regenesis right now is the fact that they are, like, you can kind of, if you wanted to make them as a generic engine, you can do, and you get like a nice little Omni Negate. So to make the Omni Negate, what you do is you need the secret rare, and you need the secret rare archfiend. Some people will get the Regenesis spell, and then of course you need the Regenesis Sage. So if we're going to be starting off with Regenesis Sage, right now, the pre-order price on this one, in my opinion, I think is a fair price. I do think it might actually drop down a little bit, but £4 for this card. I know on pre-order, some people are trying to get these for full, like, sell them at £14. But what you need to remember is that sneak peek values, they will eventually drop. It's absolutely crazy. Should I get Disaster, Chasm, Nebulous, Eclipse, and Cyber Dark Worm for $13.50 for a local guy? You'll have to be... The Cyber Dark Worm I get... But I don't know what the Chasm, the Nebulous, Eclipse, or Disaster is. You might need to expand on their names, and I might be able to offer a bit more on it. Yeah, so the Regenesis Sage, I think, is worth its money. I think £4 in stock, worth getting. Number 69, the Heraldry Crest Dark Matter Demolition. It requires 5 level 4s, which is like really, really specific. So it's not a hidden gem. It's not future value. The current pre-order price is $1.99, which I think is like a fair value for this one. Like, it's nothing crazy on this one. The next one, the Jura, the Cursed Thunder Deity. I actually think this is a hidden gem, and I actually think it's going to have future value. So these current pre-orders are like £2. They're in stock. Each time your opponent activates a card or effect, you gain 300 life points immediately after its effect resolves. During your opponent's turn, you get a quick effect to pay 1,500 life points and tribute this card, and then activate one of the following effects. Destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls. Destroy or face-up spell and traps your opponent controls. You can only use each effect once per turn. So, the fact of the matter is, we are going to be getting guaranteed punk support, which comes out in Battles of Legend. So when we get the new Battles of Legend, this card is going to be a card you're going to want, and I think is a future gem, and it's definitely one of the ones I'm going to be picking up for like £1 to £2. The new Dragon Rulers, 100%, I definitely would. I think, so I'll go through this a little bit more as we go through them, but I think Dragon Rulers have so much future value in them. Right now, I think if you can get them cheap enough, they're worth getting, because they will definitely come down from the prices they're at. I think a lot of people on pre-orders are trying to sell them for a lot higher value because of the nostalgia feel behind them. But I still feel that a lot of people in the TCG haven't figured out the ratios of the new Dragon Rulers yet. Definitely for the extra decks, you're probably looking at like 1 of each of them, maybe 2 at a push. The main deck babies, again, it hasn't really been decided if people want to be playing 3s of them, 1s of them, or 2s of them. So the pre-order prices on them, just as a quick look, because they are coming up next in a minute as well. So for the Disaster, it's £3. For the Eclipse, it's £3. For the Nebulous, it's £3. And then, I mean, the Cyber Dark at the moment is also £3 as an ultra rare pre-order. So the big money ones are the Spectral and the Chasm. The Chasm's £8 and the Spectral $6.99. So if someone's offered you, what did you say they offered you? They offered you Disaster, Chasm, Nebulous, and Eclipse with a Cyber Dark Worm for $13.50. Then yeah, that's an absolute steal. So I would definitely be going for that. The next one we're going to be talking about, again, I'm not going to spend like forever on this one because I think most of it is all pretty straightforward. So the Snake Eyes Execute Dragon, £3. I think it's a fair price. I think it's one of the ones that isn't really a hidden gem. It's not going to go anywhere. At £3 for a possible one-of, it's nothing too crazy. So during the main phase, quick effect, you get to target a face-up monster on the field or in either graveyard. Place it face-up in its owner's spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. Also, this card cannot use the effect next turn. During the battle phase, quick effect, you can target 2 cards on the field, 1 monster and 1 continuous spell, destroy them, only use each effect once per turn. So it's a kind of a game-ending card. I don't think it's that wild of price. Again, £3 in stock, worthwhile. Like I think it's a very valued card, in my opinion. Would I make a Sword Soul Tenyi profile? I've already done one. There's already one on the channel. Yeah, Sword Soul Tenyi is already out there. Okay, so let's get to the first of the expensive ultra rare cards. So the first of the expensive ultra rare card is Witches of the White Forest. So when this card is activated, you add a White Forest monster from the deck to the hand, and if you do, you can't special summon. You can't special summon dark monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn. The first time each White Forest monster you control would be destroyed by battle, each turn it is not destroyed. You get to target one White Forest monster you control, and it is treated as a tuner this turn. Only use each effect once per turn, and you can only activate one per turn. Now, current pre-orders of this one is £15. Now, I actually feel that the whole White Forest engine right now, the whole White Forest deck has future value. I wouldn't say it's a hidden gem because people already know about it, people are already picking it up, people are already looking into it. But I do feel, and if I can find my White Forest extra deck cards, all your White Forest extra deck cards are lights, so you don't care about being dark locked really. The only issue is your Azaminas, but then you're probably going to add it's for the rest of the turn, isn't it? Can't suppose Dominus from the extra for the rest of the turn. Yeah, so you do all of your, if you're playing White Forest Azaminas, you're doing all of that anyway. And I don't feel that there's anything you don't need to make. So I feel that it's going to have future value. I don't know if it's going to get much more value than £15 on Ultra Rare. I feel that £15 on Ultra Rares are kind of where we tap a little bit. Maybe £20 at most, but then you look at stuff like Primite, Ether Beryl, that ended up spiking to like £40. Now, obviously that wasn't £40 on release, but it eventually did get to that £40 price mark. The Regenesis Lord, I think, is not. I think garbage is being pretty harsh, but it's £3 on pre-order. I wouldn't even say it's a fair price. Like, this card will come even less. This is like a £1 card. I think if I'm taking that back, actually, the Heraldic Beast as well will become like a £1 card. You can pick up these Ultra Rares for like £1. They will be that incredibly cheap because they just don't really add a lot. Like, the Regenesis Lord is only ever really going to be played in pure Regenesis, and you're only going to be playing pure Regenesis as like more of a fun option. I feel that if you want to be playing Regenesis at its most highest comparative value, you're probably going to be playing the Cached Heroes. And then you just wouldn't care about your extra deck, so... The Dragon Rulers, all at £3 a piece. These next three, I think, are fair price. I also think that I wouldn't say they're hidden gems, because, again, people know about them, but I feel that they could have some future value. I feel that all the Dragon Rulers, I'm just going to put them all up here. Right now, they're a little bit overpriced, so technically they'll also fall under Will Crash. But I do also feel that at £3 a copy on these, I feel that the light one is a little bit overpriced at like £7. This will definitely come down. I was willing to pay £70 for an entire core, which got me, because when I looked at it, right, when you look at the actual core of a Dragon Rulers, when you are buying them online, you're getting 9 Ultra Rares and you're getting 3 Secret Rares for 70 quid. I was like, you know what, I'll take that gamble, because I might want to play the Dragon Rulers at 2 each in the extra deck, and it just saves me messing around with them. So I think they're all very, very fair prices. So yeah, I'm proper happy for those ones. And I think if they do well at an upcoming event, and this is the one thing you need to keep an eye on in regards to the values of this Alliance Insight, is for us here in the UK, we don't have a regional until the 10th of May. After that, it's then going to move into Nat season. So what's going to happen with this set is you're going to get to a point where you've got sneak peek prices, right? Then everyone starts opening up the set. The price will dip a little bit. And then we'll get closer to the competitive season of Nats, and the prices will go up for the cards that people want to be playing. So like your Malice cards, maybe some of the other cards in this set as well. They'll start to go up, and then they'll plateau a little bit. And then once we get closer to the ban list before Euros, they might dip a little bit more. So they're going to have a bit of a roller coaster mode on this one. Yeah. The next one is the Cyber Dark Worm. So the Cyber Dark Worm is a really kind of cool card for Cyber Dragons in general, because it becomes Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard. And if this card is in the hand or graveyard and you have another machine Cyber monster in your field or graveyard, you get to send a Cyber Dragon monster from the hand or deck to the graveyard to special on this card. Then you can add a Cyber spell or trap from the deck to the hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. So I think this card's like crazy good. At £3, I think it's very good value. I also think it's like a hidden gem as well. Just for like Cyber Dragon strategies, it's kind of one of them ones that I love about Cyber Dragons. When everyone's looking at, like, all the competitive players are looking for the Malice card, the Blue Eyes players are looking for Ancient Fairy Life Dragon, the Dragon Ruler fans are looking at Dragon Rulers, and then a lot of people are looking at the Regenesis because it's like the brand new toy. So a lot of people overlook stuff like the Cyber Dark Worm, and if people pull a Cyber Dark Worm, they're like, oh, it's like, what, £3? Get rid of it. Whereas I think it's actually a bit of a hidden gem and will have a bit of future value. The next one is the Eldritch, the Fallen Angel. I really like this card, and at £3, I think it's well worth its money. It's definitely a fair price. I don't think it's a hidden gem, because I don't think it really, like, it's not going to bring Eldritch into a meta contender, and it's not really taking them up such a huge level, but it's just generally a really kind of good card. I wouldn't say it has huge amount of future value. Probably in a quarter century secret rare, that's when most of these cards that have got future value will start to shine, because that's when the real collectors go, oh, this deck's competitive, I want to max rarity it, and that's where the value starts to come out of it. So that's kind of where you would like to go with it. About to head to locals myself. We wish me best of luck on sneak peek pools, only after Dragon Rulers. Yeah, I think there's a lot of hype around the Dragon Rulers. If people don't buy into the hype, you might be able to pick them up at a fairly decent, like, balanced price. If they do buy into the hype, then, you know, you can probably just hold off a little bit. I don't think they're not going to be like absolutely crazy and you're going to have people biting your hands off for them. But they're also one of the ones, in my opinion, that if someone says to me, if someone offers me money on them, if someone goes, oh, you pulled that Dragon Ruler, I will trade double its value right now, or, oh, I will give you £10 cash. And I'm like, bro, it's £7 online. Yeah, but I want it here, want it now. I'm like, yeah, fine, take it. So, like, if they're desperate for them, I'm pretty, like, more willing to get rid of them because I feel that they're going to dip in value a little bit. The next one is the Agonista backup set tree. Now, I'm going to put up, in most value, I'm going to put 1 ultra rare and 1 secret rare. The backup set tree is the most valuable ultra rare right now. Pre-orders are like £20. I've seen some people try to sell them for £17.50. So if you pull this ultra rare outside of the White Forest Field spell, that's your most money in an ultra rare slot. I think it's a really good card. It was actually the MVP for me in my sneak peeks today. So I played sealed, and I actually do quite enjoy playing sealed with sneak peek. With this particular one, the Regenesis are just absolutely crazy. But then what made it so good is I pulled a backup set tree, and the backup, and the backup lets you search out, or I also got lucky and pulled the Replicard Lad. So because I pulled the Replicard Lad, what happens is, or what was happening was I was normal summoning the backup was searching me the Lad. I would special down the Lad by banishing a level 7 or higher, and then I was using the Lad to special summon out a Regenesis monster. And that's just what people can, like, it was all a Regenesis turbo. That's basically what this sneak event was, is just everyone was on the Regenesis. I've got to find, I am missing cards from my sneak peek, which is really annoying. So they must be somewhere. I'm missing my backup and I'm missing some of my other cards, but I don't know where I've put them. So I'll have to have a look for those later. But yeah, like, the backup's really kind of cool. That then led into the Lad, and yeah, worked it from there. So if you do pull a backup set tree, it's probably worth the money. Like, if someone offers you 20 quid, I think it's worth getting rid of. I can't imagine it's going to... Well, it could be the new Primite, just because the secrets aren't anything too wild. But it's definitely something you will need to consider when you're pulling them. Moving on to the last Ultra Red. So the last Ultra Red is the Life Twin Tree. I actually think this is a hidden gem. I love this card. The exact wording on this one up. So, when your opponent activates a card or effect, in response to your Live Twin card or effect activation, quick effect, discard this card and negate the effect. Now, what I really like about it is, I know there are some people playing it at 1, which is why it's so cheap. But this is one of these cards where I'm like, bro, I don't mind if I hard open this up. If I hard open this, I'm actually happy. Because the one big thing that the Live Twins really lacked was when you would normal summon Leela or Kill and they went either Ash, Imperm, Veiler, or even now, like, Dominus Impulse. If they were to do that to you, you were like, right, cool, I haven't got anything. Now, we've got a Link 1, which is insanely good, and we've got a card that basically says, nope. And what I love about it is you're then putting it in the graveyard, and it can then be used as an extender. So I think it's, like, crazy, crazy good. And at, like, $3.99 pre-order, unfortunately, this is one of the cards that is sold out at $3.99. The current prices that people are selling them for online are £3 a copy. To me, I would probably snap up as many as you could, because I reckon it's a hidden gem, and I also think it has huge future value, because if this deck kicks off, yes, all right, it will take a bit of a dip. It will take a bit of a dip when the Fiendsmiths will inevitably be hit, but until that time, I actually think the Live Twins are going to be one of the underdog decks of the format coming up. I think it's going to be a really good deck, and I can't wait to see it in action. Okay, so now let's move on to the secret rares. So the first secret rare that we're going to be talking about is the Songs of the Dominators, the brand new Dominus trap card. Pre-orders on this one in stock are currently £20, and if you have no monsters in your graveyard, you get to activate this card from the hand. When your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, negate that effect. Then if you have a trap card in your graveyard, you get to add a Dominus card from the deck to your hand. If you activated this card from the hand, you can't activate monster effects in the hand, grave, or banishment until the end of the next turn, and you can only activate one of this card per turn. Now, I'm a big fan of the Dominus trap cards. I really am. I think the Dominus Purge, Dominus Pulse are both incredibly good cards. The fact you can search them is awesome. The biggest downside of a card like this is to be able to search out a Dominus, you need to have a trap in the graveyard already, which means you need to have already opened up an Infinite Impermanence or already opened up one of the other Dominuses. Then on top of that, the fact that if you activate it from hand, you can't use monster effects in the hand, grave, or banishment really does limit the type of decks that you can play this in. So, right now, as a pre-order of £20, this is living off the hype of the other Dominus cards. This is nowhere near the level of the other Dominus cards, and I do feel that it will massively crash. If you can pick these up at £10, or if you can pick up the quarter century versions of these, which are currently like £75 on pre-order, but you can pick if you can pick them up for like 30 quid, that's when it's probably worth it and taking that gamble. That's the reason, or that's kind of like the boundary I would be looking at, because I think it's one of the ones that if someone in the future does break it, sure. I feel it's very unlikely that someone will break it, because unlike Dominus and unlike Impulse, unless they bring out a deck that says, we don't want to be like, we don't want to use Ash Blossoms in hand, we don't want to use any hand traps, we don't want to use any graveyard effects, it's not going to have the same versatility. Like with Dominus Impulse and Dominus Purge, you don't see people put impulses in a deck that is predominantly like a light deck for that particular reason. You will see them put in a deck where one or two hand traps might be a light card, or one extra deck monster might be a light card, and you're like, all right, well, I will choose not to use that if I do see that Dominus Purge, Dominus Impulse. So it's a really cool card, but there is no doubt in my entire mind that that card will crash in value. The next one we're going to be talking about is the Dark Magician Girl. Now, this one, unfortunately, is just nostalgia. It's not even nostalgia hype. It's just Dark Magician hype. So you get special on this card from the hand by discarding one card, and if you do, its name becomes Dark Magician Girl. You can only special on Dark Magician Girl, the Magician's Apprentice, once per turn this way. If this card is normal or special, you can add a Shining Sark from the deck to your hand. Now, the Shining Sark, for Shining Sarks, this card's amazing. This card's like a 10 out of 10. It's another way to get the Shining Sark, which is crazy. And it's basically like a free summon. All you got to do is discard another card. But because of it being a Dark Magician Girl, that's where the value's coming from. So in my opinion, as this is a Shining Sarcophagus card on its own, if it wasn't Dark Magician Girl, like if this card was any other card that didn't have a fan following, this would be like a £5 secret. But because it's Dark Magician Girl, not only do you have the people that want it for Shining Sarcophagus, but you also then have the people that want it as Dark Magician collectors or Dark Magician Girl collectors. So it is definitely overvalued. I don't know if it would crash. I wouldn't say it's a hidden gem. I wouldn't say it's fair price, and it definitely doesn't have future value unless they make the Shining Sarcophagus deck incredibly broken, which when a deck relies on a Shining Sarcophagus so much, it's always going to have its inherent weaknesses. So it's not a deck that's going to automatically stun and start trumping the meta. But it's going to be one of them ones where it's got multiple audiences, is what I'm saying. Like, at the end of the day, if you're going to buy the new Ryziel, the only person that's going to buy the new Ryziel is a Ryziel player. But with Dark Magician, which means you've only got one audience. Your one audience is Ryziel players. With the Dark Magician Girl, you will have Shining Sarcophagus audience, you will have Collector audience, you'll have Dark Magician Fangirl audience, and then you might have some other audiences as well sniffing around it. So, to me, I would love to say that it will crash. That's what I'm hoping it will do, because once the collectors have got them, unless the collectors get greedy and go, oh, I'm now going to fill up a binder of these because people are selling them for £10 a copy, that's where they'll increase in value. I don't think it's a hidden gem because it doesn't really have any more versatility. It doesn't aid a Shining Sarcophagus massively in regards to, like, it wouldn't make you go, cool, once the tins come out and all the Shining Sarcophagus cards get reprinted, I will buy the Dark Magician Girl. It's one of the ones that you should get the Dark Magician Girl now for the reprints. So it might have a bit more of a bump, but at £15, I think it's kind of like slightly overvalued. The next one we're going to be talking about is the Gordian Slicer. Now, I think this is a hidden gem. I wouldn't say it's a hidden gem at its current value in time. I feel that its current value in time at £15 is a little bit over the price mark of what I'd be willing to pay for it. I feel that it's like anywhere up to £10 is maximum where it's be worth. And I feel it's one of the ones that if you can pick up like a playset in quarter century, so like £120 or like £100 for a playset, it's probably worth it. But the fact of the matter is this card's activation effect cannot be negated, but it does mean that your opponent can respond to it, which the fact of the matter is at the start of your main phase 1 or 2, you target any number of face-up cards on the field. For every targeted card, banish one card from your hand or card from your extra deck. So what that means is, technically, if you were to target one card your opponent controlled, and your opponent got rid of that target, because you've already targeted that card, you still need to banish from your hand or from the extra deck. The other annoying thing is, because it has to be at the start of main phase 1 or start of main phase 2, it means you have to hard open it. You can't thrust into it and it be effective. You're going to be thrusting into Territorial Tactics Talons. So it's a cool little card, which is why I think it's a hidden gem. But I feel that a secret rare could even plummet as low down as £5, and that's when you probably swoop in. It's a very specific card. It's a cool card. I like what it does. And certain decks will get more benefits out of banishing their extra deck and banishing their hand, especially if you're looking at like Gren Manju style decks. But a Gren Manju style deck is, you know, a Gren Manju style deck for a reason. It's not like toppling the meta. This isn't a side deck card that will abuse and batter the meta. It's one of them ones that if someone at a high level event was to play it and use it, it would go up in value. But the card itself doesn't have future value implications because there are just better options out there. For you to take the space in your extra into your main deck for this, there's just better options out there that's not really worth it. So, slight bit of a hidden gem, but the fact it has to be start of main phase, you have to hard see it. The fact your opponent can then dodge around it and play around it does make it even more awkward. And as Spirus has just mentioned, it will benefit the most in a deck that does not care about their extra deck. If they don't care about the extra deck, you also want to make sure that whatever deck is playing it benefits from those cards being banished. Because what you don't want to do is target a card in there and your opponent goes, oh, okay, cool, Chain Forbidden Droplet, send. And then you're like, oh, crap, I've got to banish X cards and I don't get any value from it. So that's where you've got to be a little bit careful on it. I'm going to put the Regenesis together, so I'll talk about those together in a minute. Let's talk about the Chasm. I think the Chasm's actually got a fair price. It's like £8 for the Chasm. I feel that it could dip a little bit. It might then fulfill having future value with the rest of the Dragon Rulers. But I feel if anything's going to have... I mean, actually, let's reshape this. £3 for these is relatively a fair price. I don't think they're priced too crazy. This one right here, the little white value, because that's the core centerpiece of it all. So this one is you get to discard this card, add one dragon or light monster. And a dragon or light monster to add 2 Dragon Rulers from the deck to the hand except itself. You get to banish this card from the graveyard, this card and 1 dragon or light monster. Target a Chasm Dragon Ruler of auras in your graveyard and special summon it. You can only use 1 effect per turn, but basically what you're going to be using this is to discard it and discard another dragon to then add 2 Dragon Rulers. So it's your searcher. We've already seen in the past how cards that are technically Stratoses, I think was like the first of its kind. The Stratos card, the Deneb's card, any card that is a core component that just searches out 2 Dragon Rulers or like 1 of a particular archetype is always going to be the highest, like the most chase value. And like the big difference between the Spectral and the Chasm is the Chasm you're probably going to be playing at like 1 or 2, whereas the Spectral you're probably going to be playing at 3. So I have got 2 Diabells. Let's talk about Diabell. I really like this card. Pre-order prices are £10. I think that's an absolute steal. I feel that it could have a bit of future value as well. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to put that one there. I'm going to put that one there. So pre-order prices are £10 online in stock. People are trying to sell this for £20 to £25 online. Never going to happen. So this card is always treated as a Sinful Spoils card. You get to banish a spell and 1 trap from the hand and or graveyard to special on this card from the hand or graveyard. You get a quick effect to pay half your life points to target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. And if another Diabell monster card is on the field, you get to special summon a Tuner Synchro monster, illusion or spellcaster from your extra deck. The benefit of something like that one is being able to summon out a Tuner Synchro means, wherever it may be, it allows you to bring out your Silveria, which is then going to be a Book of Eclipse. So not only do you pop one of your opponent's cards by paying half your life points, you then also get to Book of Moon the rest of them. I think it's a really good card. It's not a card you need at 3. It's a card you can very easily play at 1 because it's a searchful, Sinful spoils card and you already want a Diabell on the field. So that's when you're going to get the best benefits from stuff like that. So it's very easily accessible. If you want to play free, by all means, you can play free. But it's one of the ones that if someone was to offer me 20 quid right now for a copy and they're like, I'm desperate, I want it, I want to double up in the trade, I'm like, yeah, sure, take one. But if I was able to pick up a core for cheap, then I'm quite happy with it. So, yeah. I'm going to move... Let's go with the Ryzeal right now. So the Ryzeal start is £10, a secret rare. You get special on this card from the hand by detaching 1 material from a monster you control. If summoned, you can't special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except rank 4s. You can only special summon it once per turn this way. And if it's special summoned, you get to set a Ryzeal spell or trap from the deck. So at £10, I think it's probably a fair price. I do feel that it'll probably dip down. This is probably one of them ones where so many people have been getting rid of their Ryzeal cores that you could probably pick this card up for £5. And it's one of the ones where the people that have just got those Ryzeal cores, they're probably willing to pick up these last few bits to feel like they've completed the deck. But if they waited a little bit, it could become a lot cheaper. So I feel it's one of these ones that it's probably a fair price, but I also feel that it would crash. I don't think that there's much... Like, unless Ryzeal absolutely go mental and dominate and still do incredibly well at events, which I can't think that they will with all the Malice running around, it's one of the ones that I feel will dip in value. So, yeah. Elusive Spectre. I want to make a Blue Eyes deck and still be decently competitive. Can I play Centurion to fulfill this, or I got to wait for Primite to get cheaper? You can pretty much. So I've played Invoked, which is probably like the most fun version I've had. I've also played Centurion. Centurion was really fun. I just needed to change a few things about it because there was times that I was seeing Centurion cards but no route to my Blue Eyes cards. It works best if you see Primera and then a route to Sage. That's when you're going to get the most from it. I do like the amount of level 12s that the Centurion version can produce. And it's one of the ones that when it works and when it goes off, it's an incredibly good version of the deck. But it does have that issue of you need to focus on only going Centurion or only going Blue Eyes. So if you can consistently get the mix of the pair of them, you'll be in a much better position. Okay, so we're now down to our final 4. So our final 4, as you could probably imagine, are relatively the most expensive cards on pre-order right now. So let's start off with the Regenesis Archfiend. So you get to special on this card from the hand by revealing another monster with 2500 attack or defense in your hand. You can only special summon it once per turn. If this card is normal or special, you get to add a Regenesis card from the deck or banishment to the hand except itself. During your opponent's end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you get to add it back to the hand. So, what makes Regenesis so good? Well, your Regenesis Archfiend in turn will search out the Regenesis Sage. The Regenesis Sage has the exact same effect, that it can special summon itself if there is a monster with 2500 attack or defense on the field. It then has a quick effect that you get to, when your opponent activates a card or effect, you contribute, send one other Regenesis card from the hand or face-up field to the graveyard and negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. So the idea is that you would go Archfiend, search out your Sage, summon down the Sage. Your opponent tries to Nibiru you, tries to activate anything, you're not locked out of anything at that point, and you go, okay, cool, activate Sage, tribute off the Archfiend, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It's basically like a adventure package. And in theory, when you look at what you would play with this, you could probably play 3 Archfiend, 3 Regenesis, and then 1 of the Sage. So, once you have them in rotation, unless your opponent banishes them, you're going to be able to recycle them. And even if they banish it, the Regenesis Archfiend can then bring the Sage back from the banish zone. So as we talk about that one, we'll talk about the Regenesis spell at the exact same time. So the Regenesis spell lets you take a Regenesis monster from the deck and either add it to the hand or send it to the graveyard. Or if you control a Regenesis monster, you get to add a monster with 2500 attack and defense from the deck to your hand instead. If it's in the graveyard, except the turn the card it was sent there, you can banish it and target a Regenesis monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So to me, if I'm worried about draw and lockback in the format, I would prioritize Regenesis Archfiend. Because the Regenesis Archfiend could summon itself. Like, if you have Regenesis and search out your Regenesis Archfiend, unless you have another monster in the hand of 2500 to reveal, not only are you running into draw and then not going anywhere, but you also still need to have that other 25. Whereas if you were to play 3 Regenesis Archfiend and maybe 1 Regenesis, it gives you that ability for your Regenesis Archfiend to be negated, and you activate Regenesis to search out the Sage, and then you still get the exact same outcome. Of course, for the maximum amount of consistency, you could play 3 and 3. But when they're both £20 a copy, I feel right now there's a lot of hype around it. I don't value them at £20 a copy. The issue is at pre-orders, because you had the Sage, the Lord, the Regenesis, and then the Archfiend, some of the pre-orders were like £120 for a core. I feel because Regenesis Archfiend is also the sneak peek promo card, you'll be able to pick these up a lot cheaper. So I do feel that it will crash. I feel that it might have some future value, is if someone cracks it as a better protection engine, they will use it. And I do feel that if the Fiend's Fifth engine was to be permanently hit or massively hit in the next couple of months, one of these engines could be something that a lot of people will experiment with and see where it goes, especially as this is the first set we're getting the Regenesis in. It could also have some future value when the new support comes out, and if people have started to adapt it to the TCG and start to enjoy it. So I do feel that these will have a bit of value in it as well, but I also feel that they will crash. These will be the ones that will have the most value because they're the ones you will need to play at 3, whereas with Sage you only need to really play at 1. And that's why the Sage itself is like a fair price. But these two here will crash in my opinion. I reckon they will start to settle down at probably about £15 a copy. The Regenesis Archfiend may even hit as low as £10 a copy. And that's probably where it's worth swooping in to pick them up if you want them. Okay, the final two cards are the two most hyped cards of this entire set. So we'll talk about Allied Code Talker at Ignista. So it is a Link 5 and it is generic, but if it is Link summoned, you get to special summon as many Cyverse monsters with 2300 or 2300 attack from the graveyard as possible to zones this card points to. And if you do, this card gains 500 attack for each. Also, you can't special summon for the rest of the turn. And then when your opponent activates a card or effect, you get a quick effect to tribute one of your Link monsters that this card points to, negate the activation, and if you do, banish this card. Banish that card. You can only use the effect once per turn. Now, obviously, it's insanely powerful when you get to it. You have to get to it. It's obviously going to be a heck of a lot stronger in Malice right now because, annoyingly, all of their Link monsters are 2300. So you're basically just going to work your way through them. I'm assuming you get to a point where you threaten the opponent with where they have to be nibbed, and then you'll go nib, and they'll go, okay, cool, and then still work their way into Allied Code Talker, and then still build their way up. It does require 3 plus effect monsters, which means it requires a Link 3 and then plus 2 more monsters. Can do it. Pre-order prices are £25. It will come down from there. I've seen people try and sell them on the trade group for £20 to £15 a copy. It will come down. It will eventually crash. It is a one-off, and it will only be utilized in either Agnistas and you're playing the deck as casual fun, or in the meta-relevant deck being Malice. It is not on the same level as a card like SP Little Knight, where it's going to be utilized in all generic decks around there. It is one of them cards where it does require specifically Cyverse to get the most from it, so it will come down in value. Now, the final card that we are going to talk about is the most expensive secret rare from this set currently. Pre-order prices for the Malice P March Hare are currently sold out at £47 online. However, the card is also being sold on the trade group for about £45 to £40 per copy. Now, the big thing with Malice P Hare, not only is it the most value right now, so if you pull these at sneak peek, I highly advise you just to sell them, as I feel that this will crash. Quite like the backup set tree as well, they will both eventually crash because there is only going to be a finite amount of players that actually want this card. The Malice players still haven't really fully decided if they want to be playing 3 or 1 of this card. If you are going for the high level competitiveness, you must be aware that in 2.5 months time, Malice could take another hit on the Forbidden and Limited list, which then would mean March Hare becomes even more important to the deck strategy, but even then, the deck may not be as fully playable or as fully competitive. They will definitely come down from its 47 to £45 price mark. I do feel that it's one of them ones that once the competitive players have picked up their playsets, are like, yeah, cool, don't need it anymore, the supply and demand will start to change. The reason they are the most expensive is because the demand is so high for this card because all of the competitive players are trying to pick it up for the competitive circuit. Once they have their copies, the demand will drop, but the supply will still stay the same as people will still continue to open up this product within the next week or two once it has been officially released. And then when you're at locals and you're like, oh, I've got £4 left in my pocket, I'm going to buy a pack, I'm going to buy the most recent pack, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, that's when you're going to go for it. So overall, I think they will both crash. They are the most values right now, which is why I'm saying if you pull a backup, if you pull a Malice, unless you desperately want them or need them, if someone is willing to offer you their pre-order prices of £45 and £20 on a backup, get rid of them. It would be absolutely crazy not to get rid of them. The value in them is just so much, and that's kind of where you're going to get the most out of your Alliance Insight sneak peek. So, Whew. I hope that has pretty much given you all of the information you need. If you do have any other additional questions, then by all means, just let me know in the comments down below. I'll be more than happy to answer them. I'm going to finish up the pre-recorded section right now here, and then I'll stay on for the chat a little bit more to kind of catch up with some of the questions that have been asked, and then go from there, and I'll probably be leaving at about 9:30. So thank you so much to every single one of you that have joined me live on this one. Thank you so much to every single one of you that have watched this pre-recorded segment after the fact. Let me know what your pulls were like at Sneak Peek. May your Sneak Peek events be blessed. Hopefully, if you are going to be buying some boxes of this set as well, may they also be blessed. And hopefully this video has given you a bit more of an insight into what to sell, what to keep, what to look for, and kind of go from there. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe. And of course, happy dueling.